Welcome back to the Share It All podcast. I am here, your lovely growing coach, Joy the Growth Coach, and I'm here with a friend of mine, Kiani.
Hello.
Kiani, I'm going to just move the mic a little bit up towards you so then everybody can hear you. So thank you guys for tuning in today's podcast. I decided to bring Kiani on to give you a great perspective of the female empowerment and into the modeling world because we have never got into this. So Kiani, thank you for coming on and let them know a little bit about yourself, where they can find you, because she all over.
Okay. I'm Kiani. Some people know me as Queen Bee. That's my ad name with official in front of it. I'm a singer. I'm a dancer. I'm a model. I'm an actress. I direct. I produce. I screenwrite. I have a few projects coming out with my production company.
Oh yeah.
And I'm mostly doing modeling right now for, photo shoots, video shoots. Yeah.
And isn't she beautiful, guys? Like,
Thank you.
Of course. I gotta give that shout out. So Kiani, I want to jump in and ask you a few questions, just about, just in general for mindfulness and stuff. And then we're gonna definitely talk about your journey towards self-love and really into how you got to where you are today. Okay. So what is your definition of mindfulness?
Okay. I would say mindfulness is a way of being aware of yourself, but also like how you navigate the world. So being mindful if something feels good or if it feels bad, if you should gravitate towards it, if you should go away from it, what you need. Like if I'm sitting there and I'm like, my body doesn't feel good, I know I need to work out, I need to eat healthier. Like, just being aware of your own self, but also other people and how that might affect you while you're going throughout the world.
Okay. I love your definition. It's actually very similar to the one that John Kabat-Zinn gives, as long as the one I give. It's so their definition is mindfulness is paying attention on purpose and the state of being, and just being aware of your surroundings, but this through the art of meditation.
Right.
So, do you meditate at all?
Most definitely.
And see, this is why I'm just proud to have you on here. I'm finally a meditator,
especially in the sun. Like that's honestly what I was talking about. Like I know when I need to do that, when I need to just seclude myself and sit in silence, go outside in my blanket somewhere, go in my room, go in my car, whatever, and just be with myself and my thoughts, and reflect.
I feel that. So what's your definition for self-awareness then?
I would say being self-aware is something I guess you are, because I would like to consider myself self-aware as like, taking accountability. Like if somebody, say we have a disagreement or a falling out, like I'm able to look at both perspectives and be like, okay, but I am responsible for this, that, and a third, or I could have done this better, or like, how everybody thinks everything happens to them. More so just being like, okay, but what was my part in that? Like, what boundary could I could I have put up? Like, how could I have avoided that? How could I have not let this type of person in my life, whatever it is, just being aware and accountable for your own self.
Okay. So I'm glad that you kind of got a different definition from mindfulness and self-awareness, because a lot of people, whenever I've talked to them so far on our podcast, they think it's very similar, and they are, but you kind of make it very clear that they're kind of two different things. They're very similar, but they're very different. So I'm happy that you have
I feel like you need one to be the other.
I agree.
Like you need to be self-aware to be mindful.
I definitely agree. And also I think you can't have mindfulness in any type of way without being self-aware at no shape, way, or form. So since you talked about self-accountability, what do you like? How do you practice self-accountability?
I would say the number one way we just said, meditating. Whenever I meditate, I don't have sometimes I do, but I don't always have a goal for myself. Sometimes I just sit and let my mind go wherever it's going to go and just think about certain situations and reflect and whatever. And by doing that, or just giving myself a second or some silence to sit there and really think about how situations play out, I'm able to see we're Libras. You already know.
Yes.
We're able to
we analyze everything.
Yes. Okay, this person did this, but I could have did that, and that person did that. I see all angles of everything, even myself. So I feel like that just comes into play with it.
Okay. I like the fact that like you look at like everybody's perspective and then it's like, okay, but the more important thing is what did I add to this table?
I
And like,
actually learned that from therapy.
really?
Yes. I was in therapy in college for like 3-4 years, like out of my 5 or almost 5. But that was a main thing that I took away from that, because it's another person who's not your perspective. Like, okay,
They
but
have
do
to
you
be
see how
unbiased.
they?
Yeah.
Yes, they're literally an unbiased third party opinion. So I always learned that I'm like, okay, maybe I can see this other person's perspective instead of
Wow.
being stubborn.
Yeah. See, a lot of people when they come on the podcast, which I love talking about therapy, everybody thinks that there's such a negative aspect of therapy, and it's great that
Definitely.
you got a positive thing. So do you want to talk a little bit, not thoroughly about the therapy experience, but like some of the things that you learned about therapy? Because I don't want to go too much
I
about
used
it,
to
but
do whole projects on why we need this for our community, because Black people, please get you some therapy, like for real, because bruh, it's really just an unbiased third party opinion. Like I said, like they have to keep your information confidential. They have to hear you out. Of course, I do agree that sometimes, certain people aren't your match.
yeah,
But I was blessed enough to find my match, like
yeah,
when I did start therapy. And honestly, that woman changed my life. Like complete 180 from therapy on my life, no doubt. And I just feel like, I get it. Black people don't want to, because a lot of what we go through, it's not safe to be able to tell somebody, like especially with how I grew up. I know when I was younger, if I would have told some of the stuff going on in my household just to vent, it would be like, all right, but I do have to tell somebody this kind of
yeah,
thing. So you grow up to just be like, either thug it out and shut up, or like you can't tell nobody, keep it to yourself, we not
yeah,
snitching, or what people usually do is running to like drugs and alcohol.
yeah.
So I feel like it's really stigmatized, but take your ass to therapy.
I
That out.
I definitely agree. I'm glad that you're such an advocate of therapy. Like I talk about it on this channel a lot, like the importance of therapy. It's not even like, even if you don't even have like, horrible experiences, it's just good to really tune up your mind, because when those experiences do occur, you need to know that you have the tools available
Mhm.
to you, and just somebody that's going to listen to you without knowing anything else about you. Nobody's going to look at you crazy. Nobody's going to be like, "How dare you think like that?" They're just there with an open heart and an open mind to be
Mhm.
that space that you need.
It's really healthy to just get all those thoughts out and verbalize it to somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
Like, because you can't always do that with friends or family, or,
Yeah.
because everybody, like we said, they might be biased. Like, what if you want to vent about your boyfriend to your friend and now they don't like him ever again?
Yes.
Like,
I've had that experience. So
exactly.
I definitely agree. But I don't want to stumble away too much from the topic. So um how do you practice mindfulness? Well, you already said you practice mindfulness, but any other ways that you practice mindfulness in your life?
Hmm. I would say just in ways that I know like are healthy for me, or things that I know bring me peace. Music is a huge, huge piece of my peace. I know when I eat healthier, when I'm working out, the company I keep, um, cutting back on certain things, or like even pushing myself to do certain things, like how you have these boards around here, like little lists. I'll tell myself, like, girl, you need to get done this, that, and the third this week or by next week, giving myself deadlines. Just, I don't know, I guess being aware of what I need. Like, if I feel too stagnant, then I know I need to look at something going on, change something.
I feel that. I feel that because I think it maybe, I don't know, maybe it is a Libra thing. I like
Yes,
order.
it is.
I like order. I like structure. Like
Every Libra, we're all like, I don't care what everyone says.
it's like, okay, I need to know what I'm doing today, tomorrow, next week,
Mhm.
like on a time schedule, because I live my life. I know, like
And
I
we
have.
need productivity.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I really do think it maybe is that, like, maybe, I don't know. Sometimes I think I just choke it up to my upbringing, but like I've met a lot of people that are like that too. So I definitely agree. The last question I have for you before we jump into the nitty gritty of everything is, how's instant gratification affected our generation? And how do you think we need to make some changes?
Child, I was just talking about this the other day. Like, instant gratification from social media and whatever else is just like, nobody has patience.
I
Like,
agree. I 100%
nobody,
agree.
it's like you can't even show someone a song that is like they can't even hear it for 10 seconds without like, what is this trash? Like, dang, girl, we didn't even get to the breakdown. Like that with reading stuff.
Yeah.
I love like researching stuff. I used to send I'm not gonna say no names. I used to send somebody like articles or different stuff. It could even be like a small like tweet paragraph. And they'll be like, oh, I don't feel like reading all this. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Or a video. I don't feel like watching this. Content we post. Oh, I didn't feel like getting to the end of it. I'll come back and look at it later. Text messages, getting back to people. It takes too much energy at the moment, so I'm not going to do it right now. Putting forth effort into projects. Oh, I didn't get like the audience I wanted or the attention I wanted or it didn't come out how I wanted fast enough, so I'm just not going to try anymore. Like all of those things I feel like come from instant gratification.
You're right. It does.
And it sucks.
So how do you think as a generation we kind of like maybe need to change it? Because I noticed it's so prevalent in our generation. Like people think they want to be an overnight success, and they think that like I wouldn't even call you an overnight success. I've known you for about 4 years, and I've seen the work that you put in to get to where you are.
But that's why it sucks when people do have success, because everybody be swearing up and down. It's like, oh, you're Illuminati. How'd you get there so fast? And it's like bruh, people build.
Yeah, you have to see the blood, sweat, and tears. Like, we're not going to show you that all the time. We're not going to show you every hiccup. But
change that.
Yeah. Whew. Because there's so much that goes into this. When I ask people, it's funny. They're like, they don't know what to do at times.
I don't know. I feel like all I could do is work against it and just do my own thing and encourage other people to do their own thing too, without like, the weight of social media and whatever other pressures that are telling us we deserve to be instantly gratified. But I don't really know. I think that might have stumped me right there. I really don't know.
Maybe I can maybe shed some light. I think one thing I tell people to do is go off a social media cleanse.
Oh yeah, I've done that multiple times. That really does. 'Cause it makes you learn that it's like that is so little of the world.
Yeah.
That's really like, and it's not even healthy to always be on your phone or always know what other people are doing or filling your thoughts with their thoughts. Like that definitely does help.
Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while.
I did mine the end of last year because I was going through my own mental health things, and then up to the beginning of this year, probably in like March, April. And when I tell you, my mental health like significantly shifted. It's a different experience. When you come back to social media, you just like, dag, I kind of just don't want to be here anymore.
Because you're not basing your worth on likes or the dopamine you constantly get from posting or like, oh, do I feel cute today because this many people view my stories, like whatever. But I feel like that's also hard when your Instagram or your social media is your business.
That's the problem I have now.
That's really hard because I do that. I've done that multiple times, and I'll go MIA even for just like a week, and I'll have people texting or calling me like, what's wrong with you? I'm trying to book you. I'm trying to this, I'm trying to that. And you're not answering. And I'll go to Instagram and it's like flooded. And I'm like, dang, bro, I can't breathe for 2 minutes. Like, it's hard when you have to keep constantly going on it.
Yeah. I mean, like now Instagram is now like is a dating app. It's almost the #1 app in the world. Yeah. So it's the app that's literally, it's changed the game, and I'm grateful to have it, but it's also the app that's like tearing down the generation. So I hope moving forward.
It's your whole portfolio.
Yes, honestly. Literally. So I hope with the podcast that I'm creating and the content that I think a lot of people that are in the mental health spaces is just taking time to just be within yourself before you just give it your all to everybody in the world. Because it's like, if you think people's lives are what they really post on social media every single day, you really
don't think that about me, 'cause I don't even know the half.
you feeling in the moment. So, but yeah, so we're gonna get into the nitty gritty of this topic, and I'm so excited because it's now Kiani to tell me so much about her journey and how she's got to where she is today. So Kiani, tell me about yourself.
Down memory lane.
Yes. Tell me about this self-love journey, how you got to where you are now. Because, I got a bunch of questions. Because when I met you, you was You're not the beautiful woman you are today.
Girl. Yeah, she was real deep down in there. Yeah, it's crazy because I just graduated last year officially, and I feel like I didn't even really start anything until I was like done.
Really?
Yeah. That's weird. That's so weird.
But you were doing so much before you graduated.
I would say yes, but no. I wasn't going as hard at it.
Okay.
I will say that. It's a yes and no. Because I feel like wow, I'm just thinking of all my experiences. I will say that I have taken a lot of painful experiences and just finally turned it into like greatness, and just pressure myself to do that all the time, because I can't even get started with like my experiences that have led to this point. But even just like a lot of synchronicities too, like when I first graduated, like I had random jobs all the time. Like I had a server job for especially, and I remember this lady, like this psychic, came to my table, and everybody's like, yo, this lady's mad weird, like I hate serving her, da da da. And I'm the type of person that I don't be listening to people, so I'm like, oh, I love her already just because y'all said y'all don't like her. So I meet this lady. She's like, this is before I start anything. She's like, just starts telling me all this stuff about myself, just guessing. And she's like, I see you're about to graduate, but you're not really happy. Like, you're not proud of yourself. And I was like, oh, girl, I didn't even bring you your cheese biscuits, and you're like reading me down like this. But it was true, because I feel like, you know, everybody goes to school for their own reasons, but a lot of us go because our parents want us to.
I agree.
And it's like, even while I was in school, you know, I learned what I needed to learn with communications and film and TV, because that's what I love. But it wasn't really like what I wanted to do. When I got out into the field, it's still like, okay, that's great. You have a degree. That doesn't make me cast you. You know what I mean? So I had to start getting myself out there more. And it's crazy because it actually started from this one shoot. I shout out Nimi Hendrix. You put me on to everything I'm at right now. I don't know if you'll see this, but whatever. I ended up being booked for one of his shoots, and it just like, I started coming out of my shell more and trying to make connections. And then I wasn't getting paid when I first started at all. Like, and everybody really thought I was like making bank and like just getting booked left and right. And I'm like, y'all, I'm not making money at all, but it looks good, you know? So it's like you said, building. I had to get myself out there, start building my confidence up. And it is hard. Like modeling, any field that people, well, any field ever, but any field that you have to get casted and people make a choice, it's never personal, you know?
Yeah.
You might not be what they want for the look. You might not be the height they want. You might not be the weight they want. You might be, like, on my terms sometimes, too dark or whatever. Like, the colorism we'll get to later. But it's really hard. So you just have to keep doing it, keep building yourself up. I had to keep getting more confident. You know, when I started shoots, I used to just stand in two poses and then not know what to do for the rest of the time. Or like a video shoot, I didn't know how to move around. I was awkward. Or even acting, getting back into it. Like, I didn't know what to do. I just had to keep putting myself out there and keep trying and saying yes to everything as long as I was comfortable with it. If it aligned, I was doing it. Like, if it was behind the scenes work, even that was with Nimi and them too, SSMP, I did that for a little while. Just like whatever is aligning, just doing it. Even you offering this, I'm like, sure, let's do it, you know? Like, and then eventually my followers just started building. I just started getting myself out there more. The rooms that I was in was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like,
yeah, you even were in one of Pop Smoke's videos.
Yeah, it's been a lot of people. So it's like, I don't know, but even like I said, just that fuel, because then I'll be honest, like if I'm being vulnerable, I had like a breakup. And even before the breakup, I just feel like I was very stagnant, you know, like we all go through that of getting too
Comfortable with somebody
submersed into a relationship that everything becomes us, not me.
Yeah.
So I think we both struggle with that. And in that, like, I literally took a whole break, like almost a whole half of last year, and I wasn't really posting. I don't even think a lot of people noticed, but I took like a huge hiatus, and I was really depressed. Like, I was just like, damn, how am I going to get myself back out there? I wasn't getting booked. I wasn't this, I wasn't that. But it's like, once I picked myself up out of that, once again, I'm just like, all right, let's keep striding, you know?
Yeah.
And it started building up again.
Wow, that's a really, really deep testament story to where you are. It's funny. Like, people, your friends, and like you get to see their journeys, but it's like you really never know the like deep intuitive
y'all don't
part.
know the half, bruh.
I would have never known. Like, I even understand, like, being in the relationship, and like you feel like y'all can grow, but like you can hold each other back as well. Because I've been in that part many, many times. Like, and you just gotta come to a point. It's like, do I want to grow, or do I have to sacrifice my relationship to be for my growth? And sometimes you have to make that ugly decision,
and
it hurts.
Fuel. It's all fuel. Like, another thing is just like, people swear I'm like never home. They're like, you're always out, you're always doing something, whatever. Like, a toxic environment, that's something else I will say too. I come from a very like, my environment is very like just full of drugs, alcohol, this, that, the third, whatever, all around me constantly.
And I would have never known that about you.
Yeah, no one knows that ever, because it's like, nobody shows it.
That, and you're so positive. Like, since the first day I've met you, you've been such a bubbly positive.
Like, that's what grinds me to that, because I'm just like, I gotta make it for them. Like, I want to save them kind of way, but like,
I want to set the example.
Yes, and I'm breaking hella generational curses. That's what I'm doing, because, bruh, it's like, that's another thing that fuels me, is now that I'm not, on campus anymore, like away, I'm always in that. So it's like, am I going to sit feeling stuck in this, or am I going to get off my ass and like go do something that's going to help my future? So whether that's like, I keep applying myself for shoots and I'm out all week, or I'm booked for this, I'm booked for that, I'm trying to create this, I'm trying to create that, whatever it is, I'm trying to get my ass up out of there. Yeah. And I know a lot of people can relate, because you don't choose your environment, you know? But I just try to turn it into something positive instead of just feeling stuck. Because honestly, I think it's so crazy when I reflect. I didn't even have confidence until like maybe 2-3 years ago.
Really?
And that was a barely. Yes.
Wait, no, you're lying.
No,
I met
promise.
you in 2017.
Yes.
You had more confidence than me.
No. Because when you met me and we were on that trip, I was in one of the most toxic relationships I was ever in my entire life. One of the most like abusive, mentally and emotionally abusive relationships I've ever been in. I was never like, that's what I'm saying. You can't tell a book by its cover, y'all. And that's why I never did any of my talents. Like, even what I just put out, if you guys check out the link in my bio,
I'll put it in the caption below.
Yes, I just did Jersey Club Short. I wrote that 2.5 years ago, when I just was too scared and like always in my room. Like, if you ask my friends on campus, I never really left my room, and if I did, I would have anxiety, because it's like how my body looks. People are always looking at me. People
but
this,
you
people
look
that.
So like, it's so weird.
I know, you would never think
that. I really thought you were so confident in your body, because you were always taking pictures. You were always showing off the curve. I'm okay. Granted, I got, a slim, cute little figure, but I'm not as confident in certain ways how you are.
No.
But you seem like you were always that confident.
And it's crazy, because I just posted that on my story the other day. Like, pictures that had like 3,000 likes, and I was like archiving stuff, is like, I literally put up, and I got like 30 people responding like, I literally remember when you posted this, and I would have never thought that. I'm like, bro, at this point, when I was that skinny, it's because I wasn't eating, I was depressed, I was this, I was that. I was like, girl, you really can't tell a book by its cover.
Yes.
Because even before I got to school, I had no confidence. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, I would literally walk around campus looking at my feet, because it's just like, somebody's always recording me, or somebody's doing this, somebody's doing that. And I feel like a lot of times people think they know you just by how you come off on the outside. So it's like, oh, she confident, let me try to tear her down. Like, and it's like, look at you tearing me down, and I'm already down there. So like,
how much further you want me to go?
You really trying to kick me to the ground. Like, so now that I've gone through all of these things and I am still in a lot of these things, it's like, you can't stop my grind. Like, anybody who tries to get in my way at this point, is like, you have no idea that I've been through way worse than whatever you're trying to do.
Wow.
So it's like that. Yeah, there we go. That's the answer to the question. That's where my grind comes from, of like, I don't know. That's my confidence.
Wow. So I guess that was the light bulb moment for you when it came to confidence and learning self-love.
Yes, but also therapy, for real. Because even when I started that, it was like, I told her my whole background and she's like, girl, yikes. She only got 2, like, it's called, like, I forgot what it was, but having 2 students only that could come all the time, instead of the regular 6 to 8 visits people get per semester.
Yeah.
And she's like, if you promise to come every week, like, you literally need to come every week. Like, fuck your insurance, just come. And I made that promise to myself, and it was really terrible at first, all the time.
And you would be crying.
It's terrible. Yes.
Yes.
Healing is horrible. They don't tell you that part, but it's
agree.
still worth it. It's still worth it. Do it. But like, girl, undoing so much stuff that was done, or just learning that so much of how I grew up was like, that's not normal. That's traumatic, blah, blah, blah. It's hard, but that was putting like the effort back into myself. And literally by the time I left, like, she cried. She's like, I can't believe the person you are right now. Like, this is why I do my job, because look at this shit. What made me go to therapy, I will say it in a short, like, whatever. I actually was sent there from my community director. Because, guys, it's not even funny, but it's crazy. Like, my sophomore year, I was so depressed that I got so drunk at some party that I fell asleep under somebody's stairs. And then I ordered an Uber off my ex-boyfriend's Uber account, not even knowing. I lost my phone in the Uber. I was arguing with the cops. I went in my RA's room crying for her to help me find my phone, and apparently threw up all over her bathroom.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. And I really, like, my RA fucked with me, but she's like, bro, I gotta write you up. And I woke up the next day and I'm like, what? I have my ex-boyfriend calling me like, took $100 from my account for Uber. I'm trying to pay bills. I got the Uber talking about he charging me $200 to drive it back to me, and trying to not answer because he was apparently drunk himself.
Wait, how did the Uber get
drunk?
I
don't know, girl.
That don't make no sense.
I think he was already drunk. And then my RA, like, yo, you have to have a meeting with the community director. I don't know if you're going to be able to live here anymore, like, on some shit. And I met up with her, and she's like, you have a spot clean record. Like, are you okay? And no, shout out to her, because instead of, like, kicking me out or whatever, like, she really was like, talk to me. Like, are you good? So the only thing she said was like, I'm just going to make you have to go to CAPS. And that's counseling and psychological services, whatever, on campus. And she's like, that is like not your punishment, but that's what I'm making you have to do. And then it was all just from there.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, girl, it's a lot.
Wow, that's a really heavy story. I'm sorry. I would have never thought that. Like, my story of how I ended up in therapy.
Girl.
If you know it, I was dating, my ex at the time, and it was 2017. Yeah, 2017, and the relationship wasn't always the issue. It's the insecurities that flared up during the relationship, and I was either always putting it on her at the time, or I was always just, I lived within them, to the point that, like, when the beginning of the school year started, I was so like, I can't even focus. I'm working. I'm trying to make my life, work with that. I'm trying to do full-time student. I'm trying to, be the best girlfriend that I can. I'm trying to, like, make my friends happy. I'm trying to make everybody happy. And I was miserable. Like, every single time we would see each other, it would be an argument. And so she had said to me at the time, she's like, I can't be your therapist and be your girlfriend. And be your girlfriend at the same time.
Right there, I can't be your therapist. That's real. Because a lot of people you date, you don't even realize that like it so easily could turn into you unconsciously thinking they're
Making
supposed to be
them,
your therapist.
yeah.
Because I used to do that too. Like with one of my exes, they pointed that out to me. They're like, I wouldn't like their responses. Like
Yeah.
when I would say certain things, and they're like, well, what do you expect me to say? I'm just supposed to be here for you. I'm supposed to just
Support
be an
you.
ear for you and support you. I'm not supposed to give you like, you know, groundbreaking advice. I'm not your therapist. And it was like, oh, that
And then
was
they're like,
rude, but it
they're
was
like,
true.
they're like, make a choice, make a choice.
Right,
So,
right.
I made that choice, and it was at the time I did it for her and whatnot. But over time, throughout that year, it became for me. And I remember, I think when it became for me is when I walked into, and actually, I think I never told this story to anybody. I walked, actually, besides her. So I walked one day into therapy and I was in tears because my dad and my grandmother had Alzheimer's and dementia, and she just passed away 2 years ago. But my dad died when I was 12, and I remember like having this dream of them, and I was watching them die before my eyes.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Now, I had seen my dad in a hospital on a ventilator since I was 11 or 12, and my grandmother, I'd never seen my grandmother on a ventilator till like recently in the past few years, but I was watching both of them die and there was nothing I could do. But I was 12 in the dream. So I walked in. I still actually have it written down somewhere. To this day, I was in tears. I wrote down the entire dream and I told my therapist, and that's when I knew therapy became for me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for her anymore. It was like, I need to get better because that trauma that still happened almost 7 years ago, 8 years, no, yeah, 8 years ago is still affecting me to this day.
Oh my God, you just made me think of something. It's really crazy how when you do start, you think it's for other people.
And it's not.
And it's really not. Because even one of the times that I'll never forget one of my professors, he helped me too because I was asking him advice. I just came from arguing with my like toxic boyfriend on campus for like hours, and I was crying and screaming and whatever. And like we talked about it. I'm like, how do you know when you need to get out of something? Like, how do you know when it's not meant for you anymore? And he's like, by you just asking me that question. And like went into this whole thing. And I literally just finally let go of this 4-year relationship and continued therapy because this one person. But it's like I swore at the beginning that
it was for this person.
It was for him. Yeah, I really thought. I'm like, oh, it's just because I was in a toxic relationship. But it got so much deeper that it's like that's always a reflection of you. Your relationships are always a reflection of you. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and it's not to say like the people at the time are bad people or anything like that. It just
might even be how like the type of the sides they bring out of you.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not always another person's fault at all.
Yeah, so that's just something I realized when I was going to therapy, and I was like, that's where the healing begins. When you can start really taking account for like where the growth needs to start and where the healing needs to start.
Mm-hmm. Or where you might have even been wrong.
Yeah.
Like, or toxic. We all been toxic.
I trust me. I'm still working on that to this day. I'm not perfect.
We all be toxic.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Like, you know, it's funny. Even to this day, something that I know that I'm really working on is that everybody thinks because I'm a life coach, I'm perfect. I know that I take mental health very, very seriously, but they think that I'm perfect in this world, that I won't make mistakes. And I'm like, no,
that's
I'm
just
still
like
human.
People thinking like you're spiritual or a healer, so you're supposed to like, oh, you're not supposed to curse. You're not supposed to, if somebody gives you heat, you're not supposed to give it back. You're not supposed to establish boundaries with people. Like, no,
like, babes. I'm still relearning things. I mean, unlearning things from like my childhood or like things I've done for so long. Like, so it's habits I'm still trying to break. Like, I'm still learning how to take self accountability at times. And sometimes I'm not the best person at it. And I will 100% go on record for that. I'm not the best person at taking self accountability. Why do you think it's one of the main pillars in my business that I constantly talk about? Because sometimes the main pillars that are in your business are things that you know you need to constantly work on.
And I don't feel like anything is supposed to have the same face. Like, you as a life coach might not be somebody else as a life coach.
Yeah.
So there's never supposed to be expectations on like, oh, but I thought this about you was perfect. I thought this, I thought that.
No.
Like, no, babes.
No, I still make mistakes. I still ain't perfect. I'm learning every single day. And that's why I tell people I grow with you. When you grow, I grow. When you call me out on things, I may in the moment be like, that's not true. That's not true. I got to go home and I really got to sit back and think about, I'm like, dag, they were probably telling the truth.
Oh, yes. But that's, like you said, being self-aware.
Yeah.
That's another way that I'm self-aware too. It's like, best believe, even if you did say something to me about myself, even if in the moment it's like, oh, okay, well, whatever. I went home and I sat and I thought about it.
Yeah.
Like, it might not always be true, but I did think about it.
Yeah, and I'm as I'm growing in my journey, I'm learning that I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna definitely process it, and then I'm gonna really think about what you said. And sometimes you might be right, and sometimes it's hard for me to want to apologize because it's like you got to put your pride to the side. And like this is something I'm even learning this week. Like there were 2 instances that somebody really had to call me out on, and I'm just like, I'm not that type of person. But I don't like to be seen as like, a bad or malicious person. So,
and it doesn't even mean that you're that type of person. I think it's hard to just differ. Like, I'm not this person, but however, I am acting that way.
Yeah.
So like that's a part of it. It's just
and I'm
like,
I'm trying to not desensitize myself from that, and I'm trying to learn from that experience. So it's the important part of like, thank you for calling me out on it. So it's something I know I have to continue to work on.
But you know what? I think it's also how people say it.
That's true.
Because if something is, I say this to people all the time, if something is said to me in a respectful way of just like, I really want to sit you down and talk to you. I feel as though like you doing this, that, and a third is making me feel this, that, and a third. If you speak to me that way, I have no issues. But it's like when people start like
nitpicking,
yes, or like throwing little rude, snarky comments in there, or even saying it to you in an aggressive way, or cursing at me, or this or that. Nah, I'm not even listening to what you're saying. I'm shutting down. Like that makes a person on the defense.
I also think that like you and me probably think alike. We probably watch a lot of people's body language too. Yes. When people are like telling you it.
If somebody's talking to me like this.
Yeah, like there's a difference from being passionate. Like I talk a lot like with passion. So people are always will mistake my passion with anger. I'm like, no.
Right.
I'm just a very passionate, energetic person. So but understand that.
Even this right now, that's different.
Yeah.
Than if you were angry like, yo.
Yeah.
Like, nah, that's completely different.
So I'm like, because I even had to have a conversation with somebody recently. They were like, tone yourself down. I said, I was like, let me explain something. I was like, I'm just a thoroughly passionate person.
Yes.
So understand, I'm not coming at you with no rah-rah. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. But I'm just, when I talk, I speak with passion. So I can't always be like this.
You can't pick and choose when people are passionate, okay? Yeah. Because I'm a passionate person too. And I feel like I have that issue with people because it's like, they love that when the passion is good or funny or whatever. But when the passion is me sad or me upset or me bothered, you want me to throw the passion out the window. And it don't work like that.
I definitely like 100% agree. That's it. Like, that's it. I 100% agree. My tone and how I speak to you, I can say it in the same calm voice, but just understand like it's the passion that really accentuates the conversation so you understand how I'm feeling on the inside. Because I could say, I'm really upset right now. And would that show?
But that's no like, different than me really saying, like, I'm really upset right now.
Yeah, like, I'm really upset.
Yes.
So
100%.
But yes, just a few more questions I got for you, girl. What are 5 best words to describe your journey?
Well, the first, resilient, most definitely. My journey or me?
Your journey. I think you are your journey.
That is true.
You are your journey. So it's just like,
yeah, resilient. Damn. Wow, that's so bad that the first thing that came to my mind was, as a Black woman, is like strong. Okay.
Do you feel like the Black woman trope wise, is because of that?
Yes, we gonna get into that. Resilient, wise, multifaceted, unfuckwittable. Period. Um, what is the word I'm looking for? Hold on. It's gone, y'all. But I would just say well-rounded. I think I like that and multifaceted OD because I think sitting down talking to people, which is why I'm trying to start more platforms of like talking, people are very surprised every time, of like either how much I know or how much I've been through or how many sides there are to me or how many things that I'm actually into and interested in or how many things I do, whatever it is. So I would say that because even I'm still figuring that out on my journey. I'd be like, oh my God, girl, you could do it.
Since when? I think a lot of people think like you're just a pretty face.
Yes.
And there's nothing up there. And I'm just like, girl, she went to college. Like a lot of people think that about like beautiful women. Like there's
college. I just feel like that is my field completely. Like, and that's I just posted something about that the other day. I used to be worried about that and I stopped posting for a while because I'm like, oh my God, if I'm a model and I'm constantly posting, you know, like my body, even though I post that to uplift other women or to just like break barriers with colorism and body images and like whatever, because I'm trying to push for body positivity or inclusivity. But it's like, I used to be so worried that I'm like, what if that's being taken as just, I'm only looks? But I don't care anymore because I know that like half the people who think that, I'm like, don't play with me because I'm probably smarter than you. Like, we could go at it with trivia, we could go at it with this, with that.
I can sit here like, diagnose the whole entire.
Diagnose you mentally, psychologically.
Like I can write a term paper and really sit there and do like the data on it.
Don't play with me. And spiritually read you down. So it's okay. I used to be bothered by it, but I just feel like that just fuels me more to like, okay, girl, so what are you going to do about it? Like, then you need to start talking more. Then you need to start showing those sides of yourself because how can people know if you don't show it?
That's true. That's definitely true. I definitely agree with you. I noticed like a lot of my pretty friends, a lot of people think like there's nothing up there. And I'm like, some of my friends that are beautiful got masters. They got bachelors. They got businesses. Yep. Like they're not just pretty faces. I know like out here, there's a lot of girls out here that are like that, but like they bring more to the table because it's like they want to be able to add value to themselves and be able to add value to the person that like they.
Hey man, look, it used to make me tight, but now I just be like, okay, if you think I'm all looks, I'm gonna finesse you from my looks. Like that's it. That's how people are. And not finesse, like, don't take my finesse as like, oh my God, I'm gonna steal from somebody or something. Like, no. It's really men out here like, oh, I'll pay you right now. Like, if I'm out or something, there's been guys that's ridiculous enough to be like, I'll pay you right now just to get your time for like a conversation. Yes.
You're lying.
And they'll literally, it just happened to me like 2 weeks ago.
You're lying.
A guy sent me $200 trying to flex in the club. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this $200. But best believe I'm probably not talking to you when we leave here just because it's like you thought I was that easy that by my looks, since you're sending me this or doing that, you had it in the bag, you know? So
really,
finesse, y'all.
200 just to have a conversation.
Shout out to the women who have platforms with millions of followers out here really doing that, but y'all smart as hell and niggas just don't care to pay attention. It's okay.
I'm very like, you know, okay. Maybe I haven't stepped into that realm. I know I'm naturally pretty. Like maybe, like I know I'm naturally pretty, but shoot, like $200 just to talk to you,
girl. I have stories on stories with that, but it just goes to show that men, not all men, a lot of men just care about surface level, like. And I be saying that, I'm like, you don't even know me. What if I'm a serial killer? Like, this is the main thing. I be meeting guys and they'll straight up be like, but I love you. I'm like, what do you love? You don't even know my name. And you love me? That's infatuation, baby. Like, what do you mean? I can't make it up.
You don't even know if I'm crazy. If I got 3 kids at home.
Like, what if you... They don't be watching movies. That's what it is.
Wow. That's unique. Kiani, if there is one thing you want people to know about you, what would that be?
This sounds so cliche. Hold on. ASMR.
She gotta make sure she's hydrated at all times.
Period. Little, you know. Okay. It sounds cliche, but I would say how deep I am. I really feel like I don't like see how you said, "Oh yeah, I would have never known this. I would have never known that." I feel like I feel everything so much that I have to protect that, and I never am vulnerable like outwardly, especially to people I don't know. So I just don't be like sharing certain things or like how I really feel about this or how I really feel about that. But I will say, like, I'm an intense feeler, even if I don't share it. Like, even how you said of understanding how somebody probably feels or thinks through their body language or their tone switch or this or that. I feel everything so sensitively. But I think a lot of people think with how I go throughout being or like my life, it always comes off as like, oh, you just don't give a fuck about nothing, huh? Like, no, that's not how I am at all. And, you know, well, being sensitive, sometimes you're a crybaby. I'm not no crybaby, but I am on the low by myself. So I will just say that I feel things intensely. And I think that it makes you a better artist. Like, I have songs that I haven't even dropped yet, and I can't wait. But, like, even with writing a song, writing a script, writing this, writing that, it's like it channels it more because I love things that make me feel. Like, even my favorite music is like R&B and soul because I'll be listening to something and I'm so addicted to like that it's making me feel something that somebody else could be like, yo, are you okay? Are you sad? And I'm like, no. But this is
I
just
feel it
I
in the
just
moment.
feel it in my bones. Like everything. I think people think I'm such a dramatic person because I feel everything. Like if I'm happy as shit. I feel it. If I'm upset, I'm super upset. I feel it. Like if I feel like loved or passionate about something, like I'll literally start tearing up or crying. And it's like I don't think I'm being dramatic. I just know how intensely I feel that shit. That's
What's one bit of advice that you can give to any girl that's getting into modeling or following their dreams like you've been doing?
tunnel vision. I think tunnel vision because it is super dumb easy to compare yourself. And nobody's you, and that's your power.
That's
Period.
fact.
Because even for me, like everybody could look at me and be like, "Oh, but you're so confident, but your body's this, your body's that." If you don't feel that way, or if you let the industry start getting into your head of what you're supposed to look like, or comparing to other girls, like, "Oh, she keeps getting booked for this. Oh, they want light skinned girls for this. They want curly hair for that." Like whatever. It used to be to the point that I wouldn't even get my hair in braids. Like I haven't gotten braids in so long. So many shoots you'll go to, like sometimes they don't like that. Like especially for black girls, it looks too natural, like too black, I guess. And I used to even let that control me, but it's like tunnel vision. And if you don't get it this time, you'll get it next time. Like even I used to not be getting booked either. There's so many girls that like ask me advice and I'll give it to them every time, or I give them my agencies and whatever. It's like I used to not have good pictures either. I had to,
Create your own
work
thing.
my way up or work with a lot of people to figure out what I like or this or that, the third. Like everything is a process. Stop comparing yourselves. Your journey's not supposed to look like somebody else's. Tunnel vision. That's it.
I feel that. I feel that. Well, thank you for coming on to the podcast. I appreciate it, boo. Where can they find you? One more time. Maybe tell them what you got coming up in the future, because she got it going on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, y'all know how I said I'm secretive, so some stuff is still unlocked till it happens. Manifesting and shit. I don't like telling people till I press play. But you can find me on Instagram, official Queen Beekee, Beekee. That's how you spell it. You can find me on YouTube, Kiani Anita. I have some of my acting stuff up there and the project that I just did. Soon you'll be able to find me on Apple Music. And yeah, just come follow your girl. Keep up with me.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you, Kiani, for coming on. Guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Go follow her and go subscribe to her channel as well, because this is just a mogul in the making. And I really feel like you're definitely gonna change the world with your body positivity, your women empowerment. Like you're don't even
I'm about to cry right now.
don't even. You have grown so much since I've got to know you. You're a beautiful person, and only beautiful things and positive things can come to that.
Oh my God. Guys.
Don't cry. Don't cry. But yes, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you soon in another podcast episode. Until then, bye, guys.
Bye.